Hi, Aries, Sun, Moon, Ascendant, or Venus. This is Dane, and I am going to be doing your March 2021 full moon reading for you. Now, I ask if this reading resonates with you. Don't forget to give it a thumbs up and also to subscribe to my channel. And if you would like to be notified whenever I upload new videos, and I upload all the time, just hit the bell notification button. And if you're interested in any of the cards that I'm using, they will be listed and linked in the description box below. Now, before we begin this reading and clear the energy space, once again, a reminder not to be scammed by anybody in the comment box pretending to be me offering you a reading. This person is not me. They are a scammer. Do not be scammed. I will not be soliciting you for anything. All right, with that said, let us clear the energy space, raising our own energy vibration and releasing any negativity. So take a nice deep breath in, exhaling whenever it feels comfortable for you. Releasing all negativity from the body like storm clouds. Letting yourself feel calm, centered, and at peace as we enter into this safe and loving space. All right, let's let the bowl sing as we see what the tarot has to say. How will Aries be affected by the March 2021 full moon? How will Aries be affected by the March 2021 full moon? How will Aries be affected by the March 2021 full moon? Angels and spirit guides, show me clearly. Guide this reading and show me clearly. Angels and spirit guides. Angels and spirit guides, show me clearly. Guide this reading and show me clearly. Angels and spirit guides. Angels and spirit guides. Fantastic. Okay. Now we're going to see what, of course, actually we're going to see your chakra energy during this moon. What is the chakra energy for Aries during the March 2021 full moon? What is the energy for Aries, March 2021 full moon? Angels and spirit guides, show me clearly. Guide this reading. Oh, fantastic, these two. And we're going to see the spiritual message. What is the message for Aries during the 2021 full moon? What is the message for Aries during the 2021 full moon? Angels and spirit guides, show me clearly. Guide this reading and show me clearly. Fantastic, that one. Okay. So we're going to see how everything, we have the moon set up here, the spirit animals, everything correlates to the tarot. Now the left-hand side is the inner self. The middle is the heart, the emotional self. The right-hand side, the public arena, the public self. So we have the Four of Cups, the Five of Wands, the Six of Swords, the Empress, which is beautiful because Aries, you are, of course, represented by the Emperor. So you're having the female counterpart to you come forward. We have Judgment, which is, well, no, that's Justice. That's Libra energy. So there we go, Judgment. We have the Hierophant, which is Taurus energy, time frame April 20th to May 20th. We have the Five of Pentacles. We have the repeat of the number 5 here, right? With the Five of Wands, yes, and the Five of Pentacles. So something is coming to a completion of the cycle. Also, the Hierophant is a number 5 in the major arcana. The Page of Wands, so we have you coming through Aries as a page, as a student. We have the Knight. We have the King of Pentacles, which is Earth sign energy, Taurus, Virgo, Capricorn. We have the Five of Swords, again, another 5. Now we have 4 5s here. So that's really intense. It's going to be balancing the change that's coming in, but it's not going to feel balancing as it comes. I love how this moon is just around Taurus here, the crescent moon. So we have the Hermit, which is Virgo energy, time frame August 23rd to September 22nd. And we have the Three of Wands. Excuse me. All right. So let's see the chakra energy for this time. We have meditation and visualization, which we will talk about in a minute. Okay. So let's start off by talking about this moon. This moon is in Libra, okay? And then the new moon will be in Aries. So this is going to be a powerful time for you because while the full moon is in Libra, Aries, the sun is in Aries. So these are opposites. These are opposite signs. This is going to be a little bit of a polarizing time for us during this moon because the sun not only is in Aries, but we also have, this is a time where Venus, the Sun, and Chiron are all aligned. So Venus, which rules Libra, okay, has a very Aries influence to it. And Chiron, which is known as the wounded warrior, okay, is going to be highlighting things from our past. And Venus is going to be giving us the emotional courage to be dealing with these things from our past. Mercury and Neptune are in Pisces, which is telling us to get out of our own heads and to forgive. It's also aligning us with ancestral power and also ancestral healing. It's looking at things during this time and saying, all right, listen, I need this balance to come in. So the full moon tells us to surrender to the divine, and it gives us power to do so. But the moon here in Libra is a win-win outcome is forecast because Libra is all about balancing things, balancing people, balancing love, balancing what we need in life. But Libra can also tell us and have us think of everybody else before we think of ourselves. And the Aries influence in this moon during this time, because of the sun in Aries, is going to have us looking at things and saying, wait, I can think about everybody else. That's right. And I'm going to be really inclined towards humanitarian needs, towards, helping out other people. But I need to also think about myself, pay attention to myself, what I want, what I need, what I desire, and where it is that I'm headed. So there's this balance that comes forward. And Aries, you're one of the signs, Aries, Cancer, Libra, and Capricorn, are going to be the most affected by this moon's alignment. So during this time, you're really going to be looking at things and saying, wait a minute, I need this balance. It's going to be absolutely important during this time to have this balance to heal the past, because Libra is going to be kind of like a honing missile almost, and look at the parts in our lives that are unbalanced, that need help, that need aid. And because of that, we're going to be balancing those situations, but we're also going to kind of be putting ourselves in emotionally raw and intense situations. So do be mindful of this. We also have the grand trine, which is the moon makes a perfect triangle with Saturn and Mars. There we go. And this brings us great protection, great harmony, and great ease. But because Mars and Saturn are very intense planets, and Aries yourself are in a very intense sign, this gives us determination, it gives us motivation and staying power, which I really see this as being amplified by your Ariesness and the fact that the sun is in Aries and the moon is reflecting that sun's light. So yes, a win-win outcome is forecast, but what we have here is almost this need to kind of surrender more to what divinity is telling us, to how divinity is guiding us during this time, because we will find real true power that way and real true harmony within ourselves, because divinity doesn't want us to sacrifice ourselves for everybody else. And as we have the Aries Libra, kind of ways of life coming together, we're going to be finding ourselves surrendering to beauty, surrendering to what makes life a little bit more enjoyable. This is also a very polite and very friendly moon. So we're going to be more willing to compromise, even though we're going to have very set goals and insights on things. Now it brings us to the new moon, which is in Aries. And the new moon is on the 12th. Now Eastern Standard Time, it is on the 11th. So it does depend. Here it says new beginnings and a new start is coming. And with this, it says it's time to take action, which is what we are kind of drawn to with Venus and the Sun and Chiron all being aligned. It has that Aries energy to it. It's a time of doing. It's a time of getting things done. And that's why we need the balancing of the Mercury and Neptune in Pisces saying, get out of our own heads. Let's forgive. Let's look at the healing not only for ourselves, but for our ancestral line. And so that we don't kind of keep on repeating the same patterns that have been within us for such a long time. And it's ancestral line, it's past lifeline. It's like I'm breaking out of these patterns. And it says here, it's time to take action. It's time to kind of take the bull by the horns and go after what we want, what we desire, what we are seeking. Now on the 27th of April and Eastern Standard Time, this would be the 26th, we have the full moon in Scorpio, and it says time to release negativity. And so there is this purge after this intensity and after this harmonizing. It's like we've put in the effort, we've tried to heal old rifts, and it really doesn't mean to, okay, what Spirit is saying is if you have, let's say you're dealing with a narcissistic person, or you're dealing with somebody who has very negative, very kind of sewer sludge energy to them. It doesn't mean putting yourself in harm's way with them. What it means here, when you're trying to seek balance, what it means is that we're looking at things and saying, what is going to be the harmonious path for me? What is going to kind of open up the doors, broaden my horizons? We can kind of even, some of us, especially who are more empathic during this time, we're going to want to dip our toe into the narcissistic sewer sludge kind of people that have been in our lives and say, well, I extend an olive branch, let's heal, let's make peace. Be very, very cautious, okay? Because this is a time where we can be made to feel very guilty. And you have more protection over this kind of energy, Aries, than other people do, because you're going to have those warning bells going off. But the Libra energy during this time is going to want us to be the eternal and absolutely, powerful peacekeeper. So just be very mindful of that it's a beautiful thing, but it can be corrupted very easily. Aries, you will have warning bells going off. So yeah, listen to them. Now the spirit animals for March, and I know we're only in March for a little bit here, are the wolf and the whale spirit. And the wolf spirit is sharpened intellect, deep connections, and it says here, turn knowledge into wisdom. And the whale spirit says, trust the great mysteries. So with the whale spirit, what's so beautiful is the whale spirit is symbolic of the great record keeper of the earth. It's also telling us to listen to our inner voice, listen to our vibrational energy because of the songs of the whales. So here, we're really connected to the power of our emotions, but also to the power of the vibrational energy of the world. And with the wolf spirit coming in, it sharpens our intellect. It says turn knowledge into wisdom. That's why we accumulate knowledge, so that it becomes the wisdom that we live by. It sharpens our minds. It has us having this deep connection to freedom and to listening to our instincts and to really looking at what we need to claim our space within the world. We're going to be very aware of where we are within the world and where it is that we want to be. Hierarchy is important, but we need to be mindful not to make it all consuming. It then brings us into April with the hawk spirit. And the spirit animals for April are the hawk spirit and the wolf spirit. So the hawk spirit says here, to let spirit be your guide, because it's the messenger of the spirit world. The hawk spirit is saying there are messages, listen. It's power and focus and clarity of vision and increased spiritual awakening. So during this moon, when we're trying to make everything balance, we have heightened intuition, which is really going to call us forward in a very profound way. And again, the knowledge turning into wisdom as we have this heightened intuition is going to be something that is really quite extraordinary, but it's also going to be where we learn the most, or where we start to make sense of things. It's like, oh, well, that makes sense. Oh, well, I see that. Oh, I don't need that. It's like we're going to see ourselves coming out of bad habits, and we're also going to see ourselves embracing strength more and more. Now, the chakra energy for this time is the crown chakra and the third eye chakra, meditation and visualization. This is a time to even meditate on just one thought, one thing that we really want during this moon, during this lunar period from full moon to full moon. You know, where is it that we want to be? How is it that we want to open the doors? It leads us to the third eye chakra, which is opening up and saying visualize. Visualize what we desire, visualize what we want, but also we can laugh at visualization and say, well, what does it do? People say just visualize and we will obtain the world. And that doesn't happen. But it's setting out new pathways within our minds. It's saying there's more than one way to live on this earth. And there's more than one way to achieve my goals. As I am visualizing, as I am seeing things, my mind doesn't know the difference between make-believe and reality, which is super cool and also super terrifying. So when we're opening up our third eye and we're visualizing and meditating on what we want, and we're calling on the power of our hearts with our minds, we're starting to see ourselves in new roles. We're starting to see ourselves moving forward in a very powerful way. And this is a time where we have that harmony of the Libra moon coming in with the tenacity of the time in Aries. And it's a time where we're looking at things and saying, well, how is it that I want to move forward? And like, wait a minute, what is it that I want? And when we start to meditate, and when we meditate, and when we visualize, we start to see, like, does that fit? Or is this just the idyllic that I want and not the muck and the mire and the hard work? And then it brings us to our guidance card for this time, which is gratitude. And this card is telling us to rejoice within the surrender to the divine, to rejoice within the power of the here and the now, to be in the present, because we will have a tendency to want to heal the past and want to fix the past, or want to recreate the beautiful moments of the past, or to live in the future and say, well, this is what's going to happen in the future. This is how I'm going to get things done. This is how I'm going to move forward. So there is this balance that we need to be able to really embrace what we want and what we desire, and that's being in the here and the now with gratitude and with grace. It leads us to the Four of Cups. It leads us to divinity handing us a gift, and it almost feels out of nowhere. Now, this gift isn't going to feel like a gift. It's going to feel like an added burden. It's going to feel like, oh my gosh, are you kidding me? And so here we have this gift coming to us, and we also have this way of having to figure out how to juggle it, how to embrace it, how to truly see what it is. So with the Four of Cups, divinity hands us a blessing, but just like this serpent on the hand, it can feel like something to fear. It can feel like something that will bite us. It will feel like something that pushes us out of our comfort zone, that makes us look at things differently, that adds one more burden to our plate. And it doesn't feel like we've just gotten a beautiful, shiny gift. It feels like, okay, what the heck do I do with this? So that's a very powerful place to start with this moon, because we do have that conflicting energy. We do have the longing for balance and harmony, and the longing to kind of get things done and to move forward and to slay the dragons. So then it leads us to the Five of Wands, which is very logical. And I like that progression from 4 into 5. Now, the Five of Wands has us looking at our inner selves, also has us looking at the world around us and saying, where's the conflict? Why is it that I have this conflict? Why is it that I have to deal with this, have to, work through this and with this? And so it makes us look at things quite differently. It makes us look at where the chaos is. And so when we're looking at the chaos, we're going to be really driven to try and harmonize it. But a lot of times, we sometimes have to step away from it and say, I can't fix that. And what's more is I don't want to. I have enough on my plate right now. It's not like we're letting people drown or, doing anything cruel, but it's saying, what can I handle? And what's the tipping point? It's also looking at us internally and saying, okay, where am I making the excuses? Where's the chaos within me? Why is it that externally, my internal chaos is coming to life? And how is it that I can organize things, that I can mend things, that I can make things move forward in a powerful, beautiful, purposeful, harmonizing way? That's going to be so important during this time for you, Aries, is that I'm really seeing that harmony, this coming together, this understanding is going to come with this moon. It's like, I don't want to lose this. I'm determined, I'm focused, but I want things to stay in balance. And it moves us. So we call things out, okay? Definitely, that's what happens, is we're getting this gift that can overwhelm us, most definitely. And we start calling things out. We start saying, well, that's not right, and that's not where I want to be, and what the heck is going on here? And we start to chip away at the chaos without us even realizing it. It starts to become a reasserting of power, of self, of what we desire. And it brings us to the Six of Swords. And the Six of Swords is gathering up our knowledge. And I love that. 4, 5, 6, and you end with 3 right here. So that's really cool. You're looking at everything that you need, everything that you desire, everything that you want. You're gathering it and you're moving forward with it. There is a sense here of looking at things very openly, very honestly, very succinctly, and saying, there's more to this than I realize. And yes, I'm going to have to sail through choppy waters. Yes, I'm going to have to be challenged. Yes, I'm going to, again, be pushed out of my comfort zone, because in the inner self, that is a recurring theme that we're seeing here. But the knowledge that comes is so intense. The beauty that comes is so profound that I get to have the life that I want. I get to move forward in the way that I want. And I get to be who I want to be. So the Six of Swords is this focused determination, is this sense of taking a risk, but also having divinity guide us in this risk, having ourselves be able to move forward and be able to face our fears. And it leads us to the Empress, which is the balancing, the sacred feminine balance of the sacred masculine of you, Aries, being represented by the Emperor. There is this sense of a harmonizing factor coming in. And it's kind of like with Aries and Libra coming together, they harmonize each other even as they challenge each other. So the Empress is saying, look at things in a different way. Be brave and be emboldened. And the Emperor wants to say, well, of course I'm brave and emboldened. Look at how I'm moving things forward. And it's kind of like, I see the Emperor right now as the devourer. It's like the conqueror. It's kind of like Alexander the Great, right? The person who conquers. And the Empress is saying, okay, what are you going to do with this? How are you going to move things forward? How are you going to unite things? It's the one that looks at the social structures as well as the acquisition. All right. So when we're looking at things during this time, it's the acquisition is so important. And it is important for us to be able to move forward. What is it that we have? What is it that we need? How is it that we move forward? How are we able to provide for those who depend on us? But also the structure of it, the sense of how is everybody going to get along? How are things going to be harmonized within myself, within the world that I'm creating, within the lives that I'm affecting? The thing here and the key here is not to make everybody else's emotions more important than our own. So during this time, we're going to be challenged. And what divinity is saying is that we need to claim the throne and claim the power, claim the authority within our lives and within ourselves without, without taking on the emotions. Again, this is going to be very, very challenging for the empathic among us that, are sitting there and saying, well, I just want to fix everything and I can be the peacekeeper. And if I put it on me, then it's not on them. And it's like, that's fair. But we can't keep doing this. As empaths, we will do this forever and ever and ever. And we will be abused and used because this is our personality trait. And this is how we handle situations. So the assertion of power without the taking on of emotional responsibility for another person's, existence. And I'm not saying like with children or anything like that, but it's it's saying you still get to have your emotions. Like a 2-year-old gets to have their temper tantrums. My nephew just had a nice big one. He, of course, is an Aries and the stubbornest little boy I have ever met. But you get to have your temper tantrums. You can have your anger. You can have your disappointment. You can have your fears. But I don't get to take that on. That doesn't get to be I want to say my problem, but I can't stop it. And so coming to that realization during this time is going to be so important, because there's this pull, and it's going to be really strong for you, Aries, during this time. So I know I keep on coming back to it. Spirit keeps on bringing me back to it, but because it's going to be this kind of, I want to fix everything, but I still need to stand on my own type of thing. And I still need people to stand on their own, because I don't want everybody to just be so reliant on me that if it falls apart, it's because I dropped something. It leads us then to judgment. There's a resurrection of power, of self, of what we desire, of what we want and what we need. There's a sense of breaking out of the box, breaking out of the rut that we have been in, and really claiming a deeper voice and a deeper sense of self. And it's kind of like there's going to be this anger, because there's going to be this sense of, why couldn't this have happened earlier? Why couldn't I have gotten here sooner? You wouldn't have been ready. You wouldn't have lived through it. You wouldn't have experienced it the same way. And so as we resurrect within our power, within our voice, within our knowledge, within our truth, we embrace more than we realized. And Spirit is going to be pulling us up in a way that really isn't expected, but it's emotionally. So it's going to be those healings of the bridges that are coming forward. It's going to be the forgiveness, but it's not forgetting. It's like, I forgive and I'm able to move forward. But the main person that we're forgiving here is going to be ourselves. It's going to be the patterns that were, embraced during our lives. And it's going to be the sense of then claiming the deeper power of our voice, because we have the Hierophant, and the Hierophant is this determined, focused energy. It is the Pope in the Rider-Waite-Smith deck. And it's this sense of grounding. It's this sense of stepping into our sensuality, because we do have Taurus energy here. And that's what Taurians are all about. They're stubborn and bullheaded, yes, but they're also astoundingly sensual and spiritually inclined, and needing to be connected with the earth and loving beauty. And that's what we're going to find with ourselves as we're resurrected in our power and our voice and what we desire. We're looking at things and we're claiming so much more than what we had thought. And we're also seeing ourselves in a new light. We're seeing that balance within ourselves. We're seeing what drives us, what makes us doubt ourselves, what moves us forward, and everything in between. And so the Hierophant comes in, and it's like, this is the determining, desire. This is what I need and what I want and how I'm moving forward. And it's kind of like the Hierophant says, when we go against this, we go against an innate part of ourselves. So there is that questioning. It's like, if I go against this, will it be going against one of the cardinal rules of me? And if the answer is yes, we need to step back and we need to rethink. If the answer is no, or if we don't know and we realize, like, as we're going, oh wait, this isn't emotionally, spiritually, personally right for me, then we walk away. And it's not quitting. It's realizing that we might have made a mistake, that it's not right for us. And it's claiming that emotional power back, and it's not giving it to something else or to someone else. It then brings us to the Five of Pentacles. And the Five of Pentacles is feeling on the outside of wealth. And this is a time where we're no longer doing that. This is a time where the poverty mentality is actually abhorrent to us. It's not going to sit right within us. It's this sense of lack, this sense of I can't, this sense of being overwhelmed, this sense of anger, doubt, despair. It's not going to be right for us, for what we desire, for what we want, for how we're moving forward. So here we look at the poverty mentality and we say, why? Why is this my default? Why is this where I keep on coming back to? And the fact that we have 5 here, 4 times, it is a freeing number. And it makes this kind of inverted triangle, right? This upside down triangle. And it's having us look at things so much more intensely, so much more powerfully, so much more personally. And we're going to see where we sell ourselves short. And this can be very wounding for us during this time. Because what we're going to be looking at is we're going to be looking at the chances we didn't take, the way we doubted ourselves too much. And it can bring this up in the past. That's why Spirit was saying with the guidance card, gratitude, being in the present is going to be so important. Because if we let the past come in and we let the past overwhelm us, we let the past, strangle us, deny us, we're not able to move forward. We're going to cripple ourselves. And so here, we need to look at, yes, the poverty mentality that we have, the hurt, the pain, the disappointment, but we also need to look at where it is that we want to be and how it is that we're breaking these chains and we start moving forward, because the Page of Wands is us as students. We are students of what we desire, of what we want, of what we need, of how we're moving forward in life, but also our passions, where we want to be, what it is that we need from ourselves, how it is that we want to move forward. And as we are the students of these passions, we start to look at things very differently. And that's at our root during this time. So it's seeing us, because of course Aries is represented by the wands in the minor arcana. It's seeing us as students, it's seeing us as seekers, as finders, as questioners. This is Spirit keeps on saying this is the time for the great questions to come. This is a time to seek out, important information. This is a time to look at things and say, well, what is it that I want? And what is it that I need? And where is it that I want to be? And we're asking the bigger questions during this time. And because we have a seeker mentality at our heart, we have the student mentality saying, okay, well, I don't know everything. And it's not shameful not to know anything. It's part of being a student. It's part of learning. It's part of life. And then it leads us to the public arena, to the King of Pentacles. These questions that we ask at our hearts, and these questions that are intrinsically a part of our heart and having us rise to new power, has the King of Pentacles coming forward. And the King of Pentacles saying there's prosperity here. Look at the interconnectedness of things that we hadn't seen before. It amplifies the Taurian energy, okay? So it amplifies the stubbornness, the determination, the sensuality, the beauty, the quality of things. We want quality over quantity during this time. And the King of Pentacles is declaring this powerful, passionate energy of, this is what I want, this is what I need, this is what I'm going after, these are the seeds that I'm planting, this is what I desire for my life. And that's a period, end of discussion. I'm not going to, to let myself be taken off course. We're very focused during this time, even though we're dealing with a lot. There is going to be a handful of things. No, it's going to be more like 2 things that we are focused on during this time. And we're going to be looking at that very openly, very honestly, and very succinctly. And it brings us then to the 5 of Swords. It brings us to a hurt, a pain, a disappointment, a despair that has been reoccurring within our lives. And this comes up again. So it can be a betrayal by somebody. It can be, of course this plays into betrayal, but trusting somebody that we weren't sure we should trust, or trusting somebody and them hurting us in the same way. This can also play into, self-doubt, the poverty mentality, because we do have it connecting this way, where we have to look at kind of the interpersonal reactions to things, all right, as we're moving forward. And there's something here of being manipulated around lack, around not having as much as other people. And so here with the 5 of Swords, it's like, no, I'm not doing this. I'm not playing this game again. And we're actually going to have a very visceral reaction to having to. It's going to be like, no, I don't want this. And our first reaction is going to be to want to walk away. It can be to want to engage, like absolutely destroy the other person. So do be mindful of that. There is going to be this sense of looking at things very honestly, very, personally within ourselves. Why is this hitting me so hard? Why do I feel this way? That's going to be our next step after, either wanting to run or wanting to, engage, fight. So just being mindful of that, looking at things and saying, where is it that I want to be as I move forward? What is it that I desire? What is it that I'm looking for? And it leads us to kind of handling the situation in a very different way. And it's in a more profound way for ourselves, and it's in a more empowering way. And it brings us to the Hermit. It brings us to, after we have this engagement during this time, this little bit of a battle, or this questioning, this doubt, this fear, the Hermit has us turning inward. So we're going to kind of use up all our energy and standing our ground and knowing our truth and saying, this is what I need for me, because I'm not going to continue, with the battles, with the constant having to fight this. It's like, I'm worth better than this. Excuse me. And then it moves us to the Hermit. And the Hermit is this illumination that comes within. It is this sense of, oh my goodness, that's what I've been looking for. That's the missing key. That's the answer that I wanted. That's what I needed to see. And it's going to be kind of shocking. It's going to be like, oh, was that it? It can also be a little bit underwhelming, because it's going to be like, is that it? Was that the whole big secret? Was that what I've, spent so long, seeking for, or questioning myself, or doubting myself for? And here, when we turn inward, we start to kind of cancel out the rest of the world. We start to kind of like make it white noise around us and say, okay, I can listen to that, but it doesn't have any real influence. And we're going to turn things from looking externally to looking internally and saying, okay, well, what is it that I want? And in the public arena, this is going to infuriate people, because it's like, okay, I'm listening to you. I understand what you need. Like, we're not going to stop doing our jobs and everything like that and taking care of the people who need to be taken care of. But it's like, we look inward and it's like, oh, that's it. And we start to have things click into place. We start to see things more profoundly. We start to see things more openly and honestly and more succinctly. And it's like, oh, okay, I get it. I get it now. And then it brings us to the Three of Wands. It brings us to new horizons opening up. It brings us to a greater sense of understanding, a greater idea, a greater coming together. It's like ships start coming in, ships start going out. We start being a little bit braver, taking bigger leaps of faith, kind of going after things a bit more, saying I can be scared, yeah, but I'm still going to be doing it. I'm still going to be pushing myself forward. And that's going to be so exciting, because there's something here where there has been something that has been keeping us back for too long. And it's like, no, I'm not playing that game anymore. Okay. Yeah, so let's see what the moon has to say during this time. How will Aries be affected by the March 2021 full moon? How will Aries be affected by the March 2021 full moon? Angels and spirit guides, show me clearly. Guide this reading and show me clearly. Angels and spirit guides. Angels and spirit guides. Show me clearly. Fantastic. How will Aries be affected by the March 2021 full moon? How will Aries be affected by the March 2021 full moon? Angels and spirit guides, show me clearly. Guide this reading and show me clearly. Angels and spirit guides. Angels and spirit guides. Show me clearly. Guide this reading. And show me clearly. Angels. Fantastic. Release, purity, discernment. Extremes, adjustments are required. You are good enough. The energy is gaining momentum. Work through fears. Take time to breathe out. Okay, so I love it that we begin and end with a release. So here it's like we need to release all that we've been carrying. We need to release all that we've been doubting and fearing and the chaos within us. It's like it's time to purge. And it leads us with a purity of, kind of like the driven snow, right? So this purity of silence, this purity of greater understanding, this purity of coming together and looking at what we want, what we desire, what we need. And it's the discernment. It's really sitting there within our power and saying, what energies do I want in my life and what energies don't I? What people do I want in my life and what people don't I? What do I, like, we're really starting to say, it's time to release. And we might have been holding on to things for so long that to release it seems extraordinary. But that's what we're doing now because we're being discerning. And it's like, I don't want that anymore. I don't need that anymore. I'm thinking more of myself. and I'm not in this state of fear or in panic. And it brings us to the extremes. Well, of course we have the extremes within our emotional self, because within our heart self, because we have Aries and we have Libra, and they battle each other. One wants us to kind of be more daring, and the other one wants us to take care of everybody else. So, or to keep things balanced. So we do have that push and that pull during this time. So we will be hit by extremes, and it will kind of take us off guard. But it leads us to knowing that adjustments are required, especially over the poisons that have been set within us, the doubts, the fears, the negativities that have been spoken over us, the sense that we can't do it. And now we're really figuring out that we can. And what's more importantly, we are moving forward in an extraordinary way. And we're releasing that poverty mentality. But the adjustments to release that poverty mentality are going to take time, and they might feel wrong or, self-serving. And it's like, no, it's time to be who we were born to be. It's time to let that power shine through. And it doesn't mean that we have to be movie stars and rock stars. It means that we get to be contented within our lives. We get to have security within our hearts. We get to embrace this more and more and more. And it brings us to knowing that we're enough. No matter what, no matter how much of a student we are, no matter what we're learning, what we're accumulating, we are enough. And we will always be enough for the exact moment in life that we are in. We aren't a mistake. We aren't imperfect. We aren't wrong. And we're not supposed to be, kind of seeking perfection anyway. It's enjoyment, and it's understanding, and it's beauty, and it's release. And it's letting ourselves embrace that. And it brings us to the energy gaining momentum. Well, the energy is gaining momentum because we're gaining momentum and focus, and kind of cutting out the nothingness that fills our time and saying, no, this is more important. And it brings us to, or that fills our minds, the gossip and the angers and the things that we can't change. And it brings us to working through our fears. It amplifies the Scorpio energy. So as we move closer to the Scorpio full moon on the 27th, this energy is amplified. And we're looking at it and we're saying, okay, this is my determination, this is my focus, this is what I desire. And we're working through our fears because we're turning inward, and we're seeing how they've clipped our wings. And we're not having that anymore. It brings us to taking time to breathe out, for taking time to connect, so that we can embrace the new horizons, so that we can move forward in a stronger, more perfected way. Now, the subconscious chakra energy for this time is nurturing. This is the Earth Star chakra. We're nurturing what we desire within ourselves. We're feeding this part of ourselves that needs to be cared for, that needs to be a little bit coddled, not in a bad way, but in a kind of, okay, I see the pain that you've been through, and I love you. It's like we're not going to make a toddler, drive a car. It's not going to end well. So we're not going to make a part of ourselves that isn't ready for a bigger step do it instantaneously. We look at ourselves and we say, okay, I see your fear. I understand your fear. But then also we have to kind of push ourselves forward, as long as we know that we're not going to be in real physical danger, and say, okay, I'm nurturing me by also making me fly. And so I know that kind of seems at odds with, we're not going to make a toddler drive a car, but we're not going to make ourselves do something dangerous to ourselves. If it is dangerous, physically dangerous, we have to kind of step back and look at it. But if it is to kind of expand ourselves in a very certain way and to open up our understanding, that's going to be so beneficial to us during this time, this grounding, this sense of connecting with the earth. And the subconscious moon message is assessing. We're assessing situations. We're looking at things through different eyes with different realizations. And it's like, oh, I didn't see it like that before. And it kind of takes us by surprise, and it leads us to the answers we need are coming. It leads us to figuring things out. It's like, oh, I didn't know to ask that question, so I didn't know that that was going to be the answer. And it starts to open up the door. And it brings us then to this connection with our guidance message, which is magical things become magical. And as things become magical for us, we start to see ourselves in a different way. We start to say, well, yeah, I can. Yeah, there is this power purpose to me. Yeah, there is this determination to me. Yeah, there is this fire to me. And it makes life just a bit more pleasant. It really does. And finally, it brings us to our subconscious tarot message, which is the Eight of Wands. Things start speeding up. Things really start taking on a life of their own, and we're in it for the ride. And it really is an extraordinary ride. All right, Aries, I hope this reading has resonated with you. I wish you nothing but light, love, peace, and happiness. May harmony always be with you. I'm sending loving, healing energy to each and every one of you. I love you all, and stay safe. Let's end this reading with a meditation, a clearing away of negative energy, a heightening of our positive energy as we release what is no longer needed. So take a nice deep breath in, exhaling whenever it feels comfortable for you. May you move forward in peace and in harmony, Aries, and may you have a blessed moon.